Well, I have hit successfully the record button. There is room on the drive to record now natively instead of having to
Good job.
download the VOD. So
Good job,
for
Maddie.
any future of us going back and watching this, hopefully the quality might either be better or otherwise
Uninterrupted.
it. Uh, well, I mean, I split it into two parts because I stopped recording on the break and then I
Oh,
re-record. So that way
why don't
every
you just
episode has
pause?
has two parts.
Why don't you
Um,
just pause and just make it all one VOD?
um, I'm not sure. I can stop recording. I don't know if I can pause recording.
The original OBS lets you pause.
Oh. Well, but it's a little bit more consumable if we just do two like hour and a half-ish long.
That is true.
Or like 2 hour long things. So
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's fair. I don't mind watching 3 hours of content. I do it every day.
now, as we wait for Fluffy Sheep to load in here, a quick go over of things here because you had crash landed you crash landed the Norelai outside of a fringe village of goblins who they call themselves doppels. And from here, things only got worse. So, every step forward, deeper and deeper into doppel territory, revealed the rear half of just this gargantuan Shadowheart ship. There was a fight. You ended up meeting with someone. Don't know if you ever got this creature's name, but
He never said.
kind of an overgrown, like wild-eyed looking doppel, with like almost like stone teeth and mossy hair and goat eyes, and like he looked way different than any of the others you'd seen so far. There was a very interesting conversation in which Loki got frustrated and left. Maybe also a little squigged out. Only to meet up with Bright, who was lurking back at the Norelai and actually establishing contact with Norelai. Finding out that she was, in fact, the ghost in the machine. She is somehow held inside of the ship. But had to be left behind because Bright had come out to catch up with the rest of you. Leaving Norelai to be tended to by some doppels that you had sent out, as well as two Shadowheart soldiers that apparently just manifested towards the rear of the ship. One of them died. The other one was clomping around and apparently was taken away by the doppels, as Norelai is now left alone. With the exception of an albino lizard. And I actually believe Bright took Peggy Sue with her. So
Yeah.
So with an albino lizard, a frilled lizard at that, Norelai has been left behind outside of the Doppel village. As you all had gotten together, you had a skirmish with some Shadowheart remnants that was in a military uniform and apparently had recruited, and by that apparently vampirized or otherwise imbued with undeath, some other doppels. You were able to put them down, Loki in a rather spectacular fashion as well. And then there's Gak, who is just this expert goblin assassin, just critting left and right. It was ridiculous.
He was having a time.
Yeah, what an amazing little doppel. Was Peggy Sue left behind? I thought you had taken her with her. All right, well, I mean, so... Oh, yeah, actually... Yeah, because Peggy Sue's right over here with Norelai, so, okay.
Yeah, and the Bright was like, if I need her or recall her.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So with all of you now together, along with Gak, who was going to solo lead you further into their territory, and mind you, all of this has been a day, everyone. You started at sunrise in midsummer, meaning you have a lot of time, and well, now you've lost the you're losing daylight. But as you continued, you ended up walking through what at a prior time was the outskirt village. This was the suburbs to the great Doppel city that you would soon be coming to, where there were some trappings of their life and lifestyle. However, there was also signs of, well, no signs of life. Some signs of undeath, as Mordecai had seen. The skulls had been enchanted with necromancy, and were in fact undead themselves, though they lay still and unmoving, mounted where they were. And you can see that the doppels in the commanded ancillary village were displaying people skulls. The more original or native doppels were displaying animal skulls instead. However, the totems and other things that they carved didn't quite fit in and looked like a very menacing face. Just these like wings or horns or something coming off of the side. Just kind of weird, but you got the story that, well, when the ship crashed, people started disappearing from this place, and either were summoned to or taken back to their actual city, further beyond. And the sun was beginning to set, and you still had more time. You had daylight to walk, and you'd have to, because it was getting dark, and, well, they mostly come out at night, mostly. So it's important that you continue to press on. Then you had encountered in a low-lying area here, so it is rather swampy, especially after the rain that you had been having. There was a small city, and not just for small folk, but maybe 10,000 could comfortably live here in grouped up, rather primitive in appearance, but still communal living that shows even a harmony with nature around them. Because most everything was built out of the surrounding trees and branches and leaves and lake weed and everything else. Now, you didn't end up getting too close because the city, as you had discovered, was dead. And it wasn't just dead, it was undead. And to make matters worse, it was a horrid mockery of life, where the citizenry was put on display. They were doing things. There were people, there was like skeletons sitting at a park, apparently talking with each other and making motions. And they would just go through the same motions, the same jaw movements. There were other undead in here as well that were proceeding about with a semblance of life in some sort of, I don't know, whatever this is, whatever's being done for whatever reason. Now, there were undead that were not mindless, nor very creepy animatronics. And Bright was using an arcane eye to follow them. There were some of the vampirized doppels, and there was a gathering of sorts taking place because they were walking through the city to the other side, whereas you all had skirted around. You had found the front half of the derelict ship. And even similar to what you see in the picture, there are undead sheep being tended to by an undead shepherd. Which, I don't know, Mordecai, maybe that kind of makes you go, ugh. considering that's kind of your self-given title as well, that you have the dead shepherding the dead. But still more of this pretend. More of this whatever is happening here. And for those of you in the audience, I mean, if you were here last week, enjoy the review. What you did not get to see or review was that there were some prompts that I had given the party as Bright had sent her arcane eye into this derelict ship. And I gave the party some summaries about the things that Bright would have been able to see through this arcane eye before reaching the command center. And apparently the captain of the Wild Cherry was able to notice the arcane eye, made a beckoning motion, and then snapped it. And the arcane eye popped. Now, where we pick up, you all aren't actually like on the ship. This was you going around the city, and I repositioned it to show that you're coming around and you're approaching. It was important to note that thus far there was a vague feeling of fatigue or just sort of a weariness that was settling in over all of you except Celine. Celine, you have been able to continue on, but you have almost become a compass because the lifelight inside you flickers. It almost like a wind blowing, except it's more like a sucking in effect, where you are feeling drawn into some kind of a life siphon. Now, however you want to deal with that, to work with it, explore it further, you're welcome to. But I mean, the others have it in a sense, but very literally, the lifelight burns inside you. Mordecai's in particular, Mordecai brand, and it does blow in these ill winds. Now, it has been a long day, and your resources have been taxed. You all had discussed possibly seeking shelter and trying to sleep on it, to try and get a more comprehensive rest. You all were able to get a short rest in your time walking from the Doppel village further into their lands to reach here. But remember, you have not yet had a long rest. So any of the resources, the spell slots and whatnot, that do not recover, any abilities that do not recover on a long rest, you are still out. And I do believe that you all had spent healing surges as well. So, bear that in mind.
And I haven't yet. I haven't had to spend any hit dice yet, but
yeah, I've got 6 real spell slots left, and a little bit in my magic wand. It's pretty tight right now.
Yeah. I think that's an understatement.
What about the rest of you? I mean, I know Loki, he doesn't get tired very easily. But what about the rest of you?
I have some, big whopping ones, but I have very little in the way of any lower spell slots. I have a couple of 1s and a 6, 7, 8. And that's it.
I have all of my 1s. All but one of my 2s, one of my 3s, and one of my 4s, and that's it.
So between the two of you, we have 1 cleric.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
By casting wise, yes, 1 cleric.
Well, I don't know.
I certainly don't like the idea of us going in a little bit hamstrung, but we don't really have a choice.
I mean, we do.
Not if we want to settle this.
The ship's not going anywhere.
But the
Oh, but the-
inhabitants inside
but
are.
it's the doppels, the things inside, and then there's also Silter and Cypher and Noralai.
Noralai's not going anywhere either. I feel pretty good about her. But Silter and Cypher, they're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather them not die.
So we really don't have time to.
Dawdle.
Yeah, we don't.
Alright.
I wish
If
we
we
did.
go in-
I'd love a long rest.
If we go in, everyone has to be really conservative with their spells. Because I think the guy at the end, he can probably not only drain life, but he can probably drain magic too. So, we have to be in good shape when we fight him, or we're just gonna get rolled.
Then we should probably go in stealthy.
I can do
That's probably
something.
not a bad idea. However,
Aren't you more on the supply side of noise, though?
yeah. See
Well, we're
that?
gonna have to learn.
Oh boy.
You could always take your armor off.
No.
No.
Options.
I'm not risking that.
No, it's not. No, it's not an option. No, I'm not dying, please and thank you. I like living.
Do not kill my wife.
Again.
Just
You already
period.
did it. Maddie, you already did it once.
And I'll do it again too.
God, that's evil.
Love that.
Yeah. Well, let's be as quiet as we can. Use our cantrips as much as we can. And
I mean, I
consider hitting people with a stick instead of.
I intend on making that particular gentleman at the end really hurt.
Yeah.
Well, making it more likely that he's going to suffer a lot from the rest of you.
Yeah. I have one anti-magic, like one glow left. But that's all. And I don't have counterspell ready. So I'm not very strong on magic defense today, although I do have a dispel. But overall, things are pretty tight.
Yeah, they are. That is agreed.
You both have weapons besides your magic?
I could beat somebody over the head with my staff.
I mean, it's probably easier to just use a cantrip rather than whack people.
Yeah,
Plus the
they're more
cantrip is
powerful
easy.
anyway.
One of my cantrips is loud, and the other one is only medium quiet. I think maybe, Loki, you might have the quietest ones.
Most likely.
Yeah. Okay.
That slinky history of yours is coming in real handy right now.
Alright. Well, if we're gonna go in, there's no sense in waiting around. We can always come back out if we start to lose.
I could always set up the temple now and have it. Well, that's gonna take an hour.
Yeah, it'll take
Yeah,
an hour,
let's-
and it'll
let-
consume
let's-
one of your big spell slots. If we clear
Let's
the
just
ship,
run.
we can sleep in the ship, we'll be safe, we don't need the temple. She said, optimistically.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of just is kind of held on the point of, well, if we want that, we need to be able to get out of here. So when to get out of here, we need to go through there.
Now, a question for you all as well. I believe everyone present has dark vision. So
Okay.
your dark vision, you can feel already however your bodies adjust to it or have it. that you are already in dim light, which, okay, you can still make out colors and such. It will only get darker. However, even with that, and as Bright had encountered with the Arcane Eye, you still are only going to get limited vision inside the darkened wreckage. So, a question of light for me as the DM to consider as well. Do you want light or are going to use any, whether it's faint or bright or something else? Because remember, disadvantage.
I have a light cantrip when we need it.
Okay, yeah, you have disadvantage on perception. You can still see, but it's disadvantage perception, and everything is black and white. So hopefully that won't be relevant.
I have a light cantrip that I can light up on my staff whenever it's necessary. Just kind of have that in my back pocket.
Am I considering you all going in dark until you tell me otherwise, then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And as stealthy as we can be, at least at first, until we figure out what we're up against.
Okay. Well, at least on the march up to the ship, you will still have the normal vision in the dim light. But once you go inside, unlike at the doppel city, there's nothing faint. There's no faint lights. Nothing is flickering or glowing inside the heavy dusk that is laying over this place and the ship. So you are going to go dark once you enter.
Loki, can you see in the dark? Like, I mean, when we had Jade, she could see anything anywhere. It was crazy. Even stuff that I couldn't see, she could see easy. Do you have, because of her abilities, do you have the same lens or is it different?
I just have normal tiefling vision.
Okay.
One thing I did remember to pack, though, is I can bamf us out at any point, so long as I have a spell slot for it.
Well, if we need to roll those particular dice, okay. The literal metaphorical dice.
Just saying. I did remember to pack that.
Oh, good.
Well, are we ready?
Yes, ready to 11B.
Celine, I think you should probably... I don't know, I can go first too. I have a really high armor class. And I haven't taken very many hits today.
Yeah, I mean, I also have a very high armor class, but,
Alright, I'll go second then, if we need two front
So is it marching? Because you are probably going to be in corridors. Marching order would be important. Are we Celine, Bright, and then someone else?
I'll go after Bright. I'll kind of pick up the middle.
I'll take the Thuriman.
Well, Gak is here too.
Yes, that is true. Gak is here.
Ooh, he should be scouting ahead, actually.
Yeah, Gak should be our scout. So he should be in front of me.
You think he can take a hit, though?
I'm probably
He's
as
certainly
stealthy
been
as Gak
dishing
is.
them.
I'm not sure. I think we should have Gak. Gak, what kind of weapons are you good with? Do you use bows or knives, or what's your deal?
If it's sharp, I could use it.
Okay, but what do you have with you?
He pulls out
That's
his trusty
definite.
knife.
Okay.
If he gets the jump on somebody, though, that's important.
Yeah.
We don't take scout ahead, though.
Now, when he answered
have
that, by the way,
distance
his
down
voice had
weapons.
changed. It sounded different. He answered the question, don't get me wrong. But and it wasn't just me as the DM, but pointing it out in case you're like, oh, well, it's me in and out of character. His voice to you with his reply was different. He didn't speak with the high pitched kind of the Shadowheart. He was speaking common, but it was a little bit more growly, a little bit more feral sounding. Oh, do I still have you all? I lost lethality on camera and I don't hear anyone talking. Hello? Anyone? Did I die? Maybe my headset? You can hear me wandering? Alright, so I'm still broadcasting. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at Discord. And it is down to one red bar with a 5,000 millisecond ping, I guess. That's pretty gross. Discord, what happened? Yeah, I have one red bar on voice chat, and it's showing a 5,000 millisecond delay or ping or something. Oh no, Discord just crashed itself. Oh gosh. Oh no. But you all can still... So it's not my internet if I'm still broadcasting to you all. Discord might have just pooped. Yeah, you can still hear... Well, this is... It's not my computer, Fluffy. It's got to be Discord here. I'm good, yeah. Discord status? Well, even discordstatus.com isn't loading. Can I open up a... Yeah, I can open up Google. I can go to different websites. Yeah, I get to play every character now. The fools! Ha 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 ha! Such power. Uh-oh. Discodo?
Hello?
Am I back?
Hello.
Hello? Yellow, yellow.
Yeah, we're back.
Wow, okay.
Maddie, you should try refreshing your stream to see if you can get our cameras.
Sure.
Or not the stream.
Roll 20.
Roll 20. Am I going to do this and all of you are going to have a big surprise? No, it's just you. Whoa, I see a coffee cat, though. Yo!
That's a surprise.
That is the... Oh, y'all brought me a coffee cat? That is a surprise. Thank you.
Hey.
Awesome. All right, well, I don't know what happened because apparently whatever struck Discord also struck Roll20. Bees? I don't know.
Bees.
Yeah.
Bees?
Bees?
Hi, Raven.
Probably your internet at that point.
Bees.
Well, me connecting to you, Matt, seems to be the issue here. If I can't connect to you, I see no one.
I am the bottleneck to all of this. Oh no.
You keep entering first.
All right. Well then, where we had left off was I'm not sure the last thing you heard, but when Gak replied that he has his dagger as his weapon, Gak's voice was different. He
Like he
gave
was
an
talking more like
intelligent
us.
answer, but he was growly and kind of feral sounding.
Growly and feral. Alright. That's a little concerning.
Yeah, I think he's. Oh yeah, this is what I was saying when it pooped out. I think he's probably absorbing, not just from us, but from the people who are in the ship. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work for him. It might make him stronger, but what if it makes him? What if it makes him go bad?
I
Jack,
hope
How
not.
did, I don't want to talk about you like you're not here, but how are you feeling?
Gak is fine. Can continue on. It just... the land... how it feels. But I feel differently. I, Gak, want to go with you to save them.
Okay.
Maybe we should just send him back.
I don't think we should let Gak go off on his own. I think he should stay with us.
I don't think he should go on the ship.
But you want to,
Yeah.
don't you, Gak? You want to go in and...
We can't tell him not to fight for his own people.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to go. We just need to go. That's
And
all
if
we
he's the
can do.
strongest out of all of them, he's the best shot that we have.
Yeah.
You know, the more the merrier. The
We don't know if he's the
Strength.
strongest of them.
strength in numbers.
Yeah, but given how tapped some of us are, it's just a good idea.
Yeah.
I,
Fine.
I think we have to trust him, but I don't think we should send him off alone. I think if we need a scout, it should be me or Loki.
It should
Alright,
be me.
well then we'll have Loki scout.
Yeah, but I'm a lot smaller than you.
I can get in and out much more quietly, though.
Okay, well, we'll go on, and we'll just
I
stay
mean,
together as much as we can. And
Yeah,
we just can't send Gak off alone. It's not safe for him or for us.
none of us are going anywhere alone. We're always, only a few steps behind each other.
Yeah, and I can always come up with more arcane eyes. It's just I don't want to use too many spells.
That's fair. Let's not tap ourselves more than we have to.
All right, let's go.
Onward and forward.
Alright, you do or don't want Gak ahead? Or do you want
Loki's gonna
Gak
go
with Loki?
front.
No, we'll put Gak.
Yeah,
in
that
the
works.
order.
Jack and Loki together.
Am I keeping the marching order the same then for you all behind him?
Yeah,
I think so.
Gak. Why don't we have Gak stay with you guys? And I'll be a few paces ahead.
All right, that works. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll just be Loki at the front, and then
And Gak, Celine, Bride, Mordecai.
yep.
Okay. So, scout move. Loki, I want you to make a stealth as you move out ahead of everyone else towards the derelict. Strong start with that green number, 36.
Hui!
Uh,
Hot
I can
damn.
hide
Anyone
from
seen
the
Loki?
gods.
hello?
You can hide
Loki?
from the gods.
No, he's gone, you shout, completely blowing your cover. Yeah, wow. Loki just swooshes his cape and just kind of blends into the night. He is the night.
Batman.
Not the hero they want, but the hero they deserve.
Loki, I would like you to make a perception now as you are moving ahead and looking around.
Perception.
Oh.
Okay.
That is good.
You can see that there's a giant ship in front of you.
Least perceptive rogue.
He's not a rogue.
He's
He's
part
a Ranger
rogue.
Warlock. Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 7 levels in rogue.
Oh, I thought he was part Ranger.
No.
That's my bad.
Nope, rogue warlock.
So he has about
Alright,
as much
wait,
spell
Ranger.
casting right now, but, alright. So nothing, I mean, the good news is nothing in particular pops out to Loki. I guess this was not established. Are you doing a Loki moves ahead and you wait for him to come back? Or if there's no whistle or signal, then you all just move ahead to the appointed spot if you don't hear otherwise from Loki? How do you want to sneak up here?
I
Okay.
I'm thinking that we were only just a couple pace, like, not terribly far behind, but we're keeping pace with him.
Don't we have the message cantrip?
We do.
Just stay in contact with him. We don't
Okay.
have to listen.
Yeah, because it's just point and speak in his general direction.
Okay. If you want to use message, then you may do so.
Mordecai will be the tie between them, so
Okay.
that Loki can give us the go ahead. Kind of just every
Yeah.
minute or so, ping him.
Okay. Loki, I want you to make another stealth as you approach one more time.
Ooh.
Okay.
That expertise, yo.
Loki, as you draw closer, you stagger for a moment. As it's like the breath momentarily has been taken from your lungs. You are losing a healing surge on the back end of your character. So you're not down hit points, but you're down a healing surge.
Hit dice?
Hit dice.
Hit dice.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you mean by healing
Okay.
surge. I hit
I'm sorry, that was a 4th edition thing. You are down a hit die.
Okay. I'll just tell Mordecai to keep coming, just be careful.
Alright. As you all move forward, Gak, who is still very eager... I mean, Gak is very jittery, despite how kind of feral he's sounding. And he's looking a little pale as well. He still has some vigor. But there's a point when he's running up to the next spot where the three of you who are a little bit behind, you just see this little doppel just sort of like stagger for a moment. And then he's bent down and he has his hands on his knees as he's kind of huffing a bit. And
I go up to him and see if he's okay.
all right, Mordecai, lose a hit die.
Oh shit!
And Gak has as well, but Bright and Celine, apparently there's some sort of an invisible line that if you get closer, you are going to, I don't know, whatever is happening to them.
Yeah, Celine, you know about the undead and I know about magic. Why don't we see if we cross this line together, if we can get a sense of what kind of effect this is?
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
We want to see if we can get an idea of what type of effect, what's going on here. I could even cast a detect magic, but it would take 10 minutes, so it's probably not worth it.
No, it's not. We'll go ahead and cross.
All right, between the two of you, I mean, both of you are going to lose a hit die, but you can roll Arcana at advantage.
Well,
22.
yeah, I'll let
This is... So it's not so much anti-magic, because obviously your Arcane Eye was able to function in there, Bright. But with the clues about the things that Celine said she was feeling, and now that you're closer in proximity to this place, there's something here that is it's some kind of a drain,
no life
a
field.
sinkhole. The life has been pulled from the land, as you've seen on approach. And so in that scale, you could even think back to when the grass really stopped being green, even here in the height of summer, with, you know, water coming from the skies and everything. And of course, comparing even further back to Il Artsua and where the dwarves were with their very fertile farmland. Like the goblin lands were still kind of like they were viable. There was grasses and such, but they did seem just kind of drained, kind of sparse. And when you reached here, nothing was alive. And now that all of you are closer, that little tingling feeling that was acting almost like a compass, it's indicating that there is now a draw of life force. However you quantify it, whatever you want to call it, you can come up with a theory about it later, but you can describe it as such. There is a suction, a void. There's some sort of an aura of life drain permeating from this place.
Yeah.
This place drains the life from everything.
Do you think your healing magic will still work in here?
If it does, it'll be less effective.
That's a good thing I still have charges in my staff. Still got a little bit of magic left in it, so...
Loki,
Yeah,
make
no,
a
it's just
stealth
matter
and a
of, like,
perception.
people.
Say again?
Stealth and perception, Loki, while they're talking.
Still? Perception.
Natural
right.
20.
As they're staying behind and discussing the merits and the theories, and conjecturing a dissertation about the effects, Loki pushes forward, and Loki, either you're just super good at moving, which you probably are. You're allowed to be a little full of yourself here, but there is a shepherd on top of the ship that is just sort of sitting there. And if it had lips, would probably just be whistling. But it's sitting there with a crook. And it's sort of bopping. There's still some meaty chunks on it. But primarily where it's been bopping against the side of the ship, it doesn't seem to have a lot of meat left on the bone. And it's there. It's singing a song or humming a tune or something. It doesn't see you, or if it sees you, it's not reacting to you. But there is a thing up here that I guess is supposedly watching over the flock.
When Mordecai messages me, I would tell him to take sort of a longer cut around to avoid being seen.
Understood. And I would advise the rest of us to kind of, give a wide berth to the shepherd.
We'll give the shepherd a wide berth.
I would like then for the remaining 4 of you, because I will roll for Gak, to roll a stealth if you are going to be stealthy, to try and avoid the watchful gaze of this undead shepherd. 23, 12,
Great.
14 from Celine, and...
Oh, Celine's a disadvantage too. That's a 7.
Oh, that's a
for her.
7. I'm sorry,
That's a
yeah.
7. Ouch.
Yeah.
She's in half plate too.
Yep.
She's trying to be stealthy, but the sound of her plate mail keeps clapping and alerting the undead. Wow, where did Gak go? Gak just disappeared.
Okay, you sneaky bugger.
What an amazing little goblin we have here. All right.
He's gonna have to jump on somebody.
Yeah, Gak just is hopefully not going to stray like Tig.
Oh, I hope not.
I don't think we should be letting Gak. I think I should trade places with Gak. I really feel somewhat strongly about that.
I'm gonna message in the direction that I last saw Gak. Don't wander off too far.
Okay. You'll hear back. Take out the guard. Question mark?
No. Stay quiet. We're just going in.
Actually, Split looks to Mordecai like she gestures to herself. She's just like, take out the gun. Like if he's asking, yes. Whatever he's asking,
privy to
let him
this
do it.
conversation or not. But if I am, I would tell Mordecai, yes, take out the guard.
Yeah, no, it's just silly being like, whatever he's saying, let him do it.
Okay, go for it. Get the jump on him.
Gak is no longer within whisper range. You do not see Gak anywhere. As you all were on an approach. And Celine is just clink, clank, clink, clank.
Shh. You have more experience with this kind of armor than I do. Trying. Try harder.
Wow.
Celine, I'm using you as the default perception monkey because you are.
Monkey.
She has elf eyes.
Yeah, you. What do your elf eyes see? You see some movement behind the shepherd, and with a quick flash in the last rays of the setting sun, Gak's dagger flashes out and comes up through. It would have been through the back of the neck. And you just see little Gak holding up kind of a spinning, partially skeletized head that is still trying to whistle. Nothing else about the body changes.
Celine gives him a nod. Let's go.
If that's a motion for us to go forward?
Yes.
Looks like it.
Whoops. That is the wrong number. Disregard what that is. Wow. All right then. Gak is super good at climbing down from the perch. I meant 1d20, not a 1d209. Gak comes down.
That's
He's
not fair.
he's holding onto his grizzly trophy, and slips. Comes down, and you do see that there is a bit of a scarlet streak. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It would not be scarlet. It is.
Black.
It's a little bit of a greeny black streak. As it looks like Gak must have cut himself on the rusted metal of the hull, coming down with the skull prize. The remainder of the shepherd is still up there holding the crook, and you still see the leg just sort of bouncing along to whatever it's doing. Ah!
You alright?
Cut leg. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. You already killed the guard, so you didn't make that. So the noise probably doesn't matter that much. But is your leg okay? Is it gonna like turn all ooky because it's undead here?
How does it look?
He has a pretty decent cut. I mean, he's taken hit point damage in a mechanical sense. He can still get along, but he is injured.
The shepherd is still moving.
And the head is still whistling, or trying to.
I don't think that many of these undead can actually see us. There's no reaction.
Why isn't the whistling? Like, is that what kind of whistling? Is it like alarm whistling or?
It's
or
not even
is it
whistling.
sheep
It's
controlling
trying to. It doesn't
whistling?
even have the lips or enough lips to whistle. It's just sitting there as if it was whistling, looking out over the sheep.
Don't feel bad, Mr. Head. I can't whistle either.
If I'm close enough, I am going to, quietly cast a sacred flame on the rest of the thing's body.
Okay.
And so, well, bam.
Okay. So quietly isn't too much of an issue. Though there is, you do sort of send up a flare as your sacred flame flies up from you. You are going to hit this thing. It doesn't even try to get out of the way. It just is there. Your sacred flame impacts it as you send it up. There's a little explosion of light, and the shepherd's body kind of kang. It tumbles down, striking against the metal hull, and it's just lying there motionless, with the wooden shepherd's crook kind of in the ground.
Could you have been any more obvious?
Hey, it was either that, or we risk it coming after us without its head.
The thing is, it wasn't moving at all. It didn't react. Even if it saw us, its head was cut off and it didn't react. It's this.
We're making
They're not.
a deal of noise.
Yeah.
Quietly.
I don't think that the undead here are capable of perceiving us. Maybe some of them are, but not these. Not the ones that are just autonomously moving.
It's very possible.
Still. I don't know.
I think if we could just maybe avoid keep from running right into him, we might be okay. So we can
Alright.
get to them.
Let's just avoid making any more noise or light until we get to the target.
Barely even sparked.
It sparked. It definitely sparked.
It barely even sparked.
Mordecai, you do not spark joy.
It's not like it's fireworks and glitter.
Everyone for a moment just looks like reflexively down to Bright, just. What?
I was here, she would be the other.
Yeah.
Celine looks in the general direction of where the ship was.
Somewhere back at the doppel outskirts, the ship vents. Kind of sounds like a sneeze, and I.
I think someone's talking about me.
It's not me this time. Next time.
Well, let's, if you're so worried, let's get going. Go inside, then keep going. And
Just keep it down.
you make it seem like I'm not light on my feet. Otherwise, if it wasn't for this armor, I'd be silent.
Are
Silent
you
and flexible.
Quickly, out of character, Loki has not really seen you without your armor.
No,
You
yeah.
guys have, yeah. So, for all he knows, you're just the loudest person.
Well, yeah, that's
Silent and flexible. Just that's all I'm saying.
All right. Stealth and a perception.
yeah, as you are going to be the first one actually inside. Okay. All right, Loki. Going inside, there is one of these undead sheep that lowers its head and lifts it back up. Lowers its head, lifts it back up. Not that you can't go around. It is directly in your way, but you can go around it with minimal effort. But as your vision sort of, I'm not sure what the effect would be called, but you go into your dark mode, right? Where things go grayscale and everything. It's sort of like when you go from a theater and you walk outside and you go at the sun because it's really bright all of a sudden, you get that kind of a weird like vision swap.
Adjustment, yeah.
Yeah. And there's you are very close to one of these sheep. Though again, either because you are an expert pro, it has not detected you, or if it has, it doesn't care. What do you want to do with the in the way sheep? You could just go around. You could just say you're going to go around, or if you want to interact with it, you may. But you have moved inside, and there is a sheep.
When I get the message from Mordecai, watch out for the sheep, and then I'll go around it.
Okay.
Watch out for sheep.
All right, Loki. Loki's inside. The rest of you are going in. By the way, are you letting Gak keep his trophy head?
As long as it's not making any noise, I don't see why not.
It just keeps trying to whistle. Unsuccessfully, because it has neither lips nor lungs.
I mean, it's kind of a weird trophy.
It is a bit of a weird trophy, but he can keep it for now.
You know how, I mean, he's not like us. Gobos are different. If he wants it, he can have it. I'm sure we'll find him a bigger one later.
I'm just worried that maybe the souls of these people haven't moved on either.
Okay, I would like a stealth from the three of you.
Okay.
Gak once more
Nope.
disappears. Nice, Bright.
Small money.
Mordecai.
I did a better one this time.
Well,
This Loki, I didn't realize yet.
When you guys get back up to Loki, he just has his face in his hand. He's like, "I told you to be quiet,
clang,
making
clang.
so much noise."
No one can hear us approaching through all the clanging. Clang, clang, clang. As you all are ingressing into the ship, you do encounter this mostly skeletalized sheep. What do you want to do? You can get close to it. You can avoid it rather easily. There's no mechanical thing I'm going to call for. This is simply me prompting you if you would like to interact with it or avoid it.
Just avoiding it.
Just gonna go around it. Yep.
Okay?
I mean, if it weren't a matter of life and death, I would interact with it. But for now, avoiding it seems good.
Okay. As you walk around it, I mean, like, go around, not like, yeah, I'm just gonna, like, just walk an inch away from it. As you're going around it, it just continues to dip its head down. There's not even grass here. Like, it is actually partially inside the ship where it's now just a metal floor. And it just dips its head down, lifts it up. And the process repeats over and over again.
This is definitely some kind of sick joke.
Very mechanical.
Do you think Weejas is trying to make fun of Zufiwa? With all of this?
Possibly.
It's possible. I don't know. Is it the sort of thing she would do? Does she even care?
Honestly, I couldn't say anymore. I don't know.
I wouldn't
I
say
think her
it's
agents
that
care more
cares.
than... I think the agents care more than she does.
I don't think this really fits her MO.
It
It
doesn't.
fits somebody's MO. We're just gonna find who that somebody is. Maybe it's the guy at the end.
All right. Now, these pictures are more lit up than what your vision will be showing you because until you tell me differently, there is no light now that you are inside.
I still make all of my perception checks on a regular, so
Yeah,
thanks to
so
my shield.
inside the wreckage here, you all are getting to see what Bright was... I actually, real quick, Bright, how in detail did you narrate? Now, obviously, I wrote things and all of you could read it as players. But if we take the step back, where it's you narrating what you see through your eye, how detailed were you in your description of things?
I mean, moderately.
Okay.
I mean, she's not. Anything she left out would be because she wasn't sure if it was important, rather than because she wanted to. I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of time, right? And she could narrate it in real time as the eye traveled. So it would really be just a question of things like, did she overlook something?
Okay.
Or not realize that something was important, or she wouldn't have tried to keep anything secret, and I don't think there would have been a limit on how much time she had to explain things.
Okay, so ultimately, everyone knows that the further in you go, it's going to start getting weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you all are now going to get to see it for yourselves.
I know she just said, "Whew, do not go in there."
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that.
And it was an arcane eye, not an arcane nose, which probably also helped you in that scouting.
Yep.
All right. Well, now that you're inside, you still want Loki to move and scout, or you're in a little bit more confined space? I mean, Clanker's gonna clank, or do you actually want to semi-split the party like you had been until now?
I don't know. What do you
As
think?
I
the
was getting ahead.
spaces get a little bit more confined, I mean, unless we're going down like hallways, we're generally probably gonna stay relatively close. But once we start like traveling through a hallway again, have Loki scout for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So, inside here, you are getting to glimpse that this is a more complex ship than the troop transport and other things that you had seen from the outside. Now, obviously, the Repentless is going to be an exception because it can only look on the outside like how ships like this would look on the inside. And none of you had been inside one of these, like truly. But you are seeing that there's an area here where people can simply sit and enjoy. Where you had walked in through might have been some sort of a viewing port. It looked like it was sort of a big blown out glass section, which obviously shattered on impact. But this is an area where people could sit, where there could be leisure. Of course, it is rather dirty, and there is just the detritus of the crash.
This is fascinating, though. It's like he's kind of just like looking at, probably long cold control panels, or if there's buttons, he's looking over the layout of them. He's just kind of idly just absorbing what it is he's seeing as far as the technology here. This is some advanced stuff.
Can you make sense of it? I mean, this isn't really my thing.
Well, this certainly seems like a lounge area, and I want to see if there's any other purpose to this particular location, if I can find out.
Sure.
What should I roll?
Tinkering is fine. Intelligence-based tinkering.
Intelligence tinkering.
Okay.
Ooh, I would have advantage on
You
that,
do
actually.
have
So that is
advantage.
the 20.
Okay.
Because it is for determining the purpose of a thing.
You're looking over, and for sure the design aesthetics, like this is Shadowheart through and through. There's something, though, about this that is softer you've encountered a lot of military, official government style ships. This actually has an element of decor. This has an element of style to it, where there are things that aren't just here for function, or like for pure function. You're actually seeing now some designs that would be similar to the art that you had seen from the Shadowheart art dealers that came down. And so this place would be a bit of a bemusement. And what is interesting is across from this sitting area here, there's some kind of a large panel that is now suspiciously devoid of any sort of markings or decoration. So its sheer plainness actually has it stand out against a lot of other things in this room. And the way it's positioned would seem important in some way.
He's just kind of musing out loud all of this, just kind of letting the gears turning in his head, and goes to sit in one of the seats in front of the viewing monitor thing.
Sure.
Does it look like that's the purpose? Like it's supposed to be for some kind of display towards this seat?
Why don't you make another tinkering check? Intelligence as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's 21. Is that an advantage too, or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 21.
Mordecai, in this moment, what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about... Well, since the layout and since this ship is kind of a thing of fascination to him, the errant thoughts going through his mind are very, what is this for? What is this place? Is it more of a troop ship? Is it more of a traveling city? Is it more of a, moving people from one place to another is like an Exodus style? What is the purpose of this?
As you were wondering this, and you'll get to see this too, Mordecai. The prompt is for what I'll narrate, but you're a part of this as well. Mordecai sits down and begins, well, very literally tinkering around. And in the absolute darkness of this place, there's as there are images that are displayed on this otherwise unremarkable slab of material. And Mordecai, you are sitting across from it. You can see it. And the rest of you might be startled, or you turn to look up. And you can see a semblance of Mordecai's thoughts. Now, there appears to be some kind of distortion, or it's kind of staticky, like what we would call static. It's kind of hazy. It might be damaged in the crash, or maybe Mordecai just doesn't know how to fully operate it, or whatever operates this isn't operational. But you are getting some little faint, like after an initial light up, you're getting some little faint scenes from what Mordecai is thinking in this moment.
Oh. Well, that's intriguing.
Yeah, this this definitely attracts my attention for sure.
Well, a lot of Shadowheart ships kind of run on the thoughts of and emotions of the pilots. What's to say that, the decorative stuff or the, day-to-day lifestyle stuff doesn't work similarly?
But who would want? I mean, unless this is for interrogations, who would want this? Who would ever want their thoughts displayed on a screen?
Well, if you're trying to find something, and he's a little more actively trying to think of what's the layout of the ship like, kind of like he's asking the question of the view screen, except he's not saying it out loud, he's thinking it.
You see glimmers and glimpses of what you saw of the ship.
How?
This is weird. Okay.
It's fascinating.
Do I have the sense if this is magical in any way, or if it's just purely technological?
Without detecting magic, there must be something magical about it, but what exactly is escaping you, with an exception of because you had the time to sit down and read the manual, whatever this thing is, this sort of panel, this contact plate that Mordecai is messing around with as he sat down in this seat, there seems to be connectivity between Mordecai and this thing. And so, I mean, Mordecai doesn't look like he's actively casting magic, but there is some sort of a reaction. In fact, Bright, give me an Arcana, at advantage even, because this might come easier to you than others. 19. As you're thinking about this almost seems like what you do time and again, Bright, when you use minor illusion to show the things that you're thinking, to take your thoughts and make it realized. Now, in that capacity, you are actively casting magic to do that, and it's coming from your own brainy, thinky thoughts. Mordecai is not actively casting magic unless he's a super liar. He is sus, if you will, aboard this ship. So
he's highly charismatic, but he's not a great liar.
This might actually have something to do with, or it can be used in a way like what you use your magic to do.
Like the one time that Celine kind of basically used a pinboard that you created or something, right?
Yeah. We made that magical pinboard. I think it could be more like for entertainment. Like if you had a bard, or not even a magical bard, just a person who's a really good storyteller, they could use this to project, kind of like a puppet show, only without the puppets.
I am going to do something like that.
Okay.
And I am going to kind of think about how it is that we all met and see if that displays.
A ghostly image flickers, trying to cling onto this surface. But there is an image of you all standing over Raphael's body.
And Mordecai's thoughts actually kind of go back to the song that he played. Just kind of dwelling on that for a second.
Through a speaking tube somewhere, a rather bent and hauntingly distorted set of notes issues forth. It sounds kind of tinny, kind of distant, but for sure it's capable of trying to at least reproduce the sound that you're thinking of.
Oh, that's haunting. More than usual. Okay, I've had my fun. Let's keep going.
The images disappear as Mordecai stands up.
Gak, how long has this ship been here?
3 summers.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just not working well, or maybe it takes practice to get good at using it. But
Or
how big
maybe
is
it's
the room we're
broken.
in?
The ship did crash.
Yeah, I mean, it could have taken damage. How big is the room we're in? Like, how many people could fit in here? Is it like an auditorium? Or
No,
is it
it's about to the scale that you're seeing here. So, I mean, very comfortable. Like, you could pack it full of people, but there's enough seats for at least a dozen to sit, without needing to be too close a friend.
Yeah. Mordecai, how many people do you suppose a ship like this would carry? Hundreds, probably, right?
Close to 1,000, maybe?
Yeah. This room is too small to be an entertainment room. It could be like a briefing room. If this was a military
be.
ship and not a, I was thinking this could be like a cruise liner, and they might have used something like this for entertainment. But if it was a military ship, I mean, it doesn't look like a military ship. But if it was, they could use it as like a briefing room.
I mean, I don't doubt that kind of similar thing is elsewhere. That Shadowheart uses it wherever it's advantageous.
Yeah.
Briefing rooms, entertainment. I don't know that I've actually heard any Shadowheart entertainment now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, of course they obviously pay homage to Ouija's and probably sing her hymns at, ossuaries and temples, but I don't everything about Ouija's is very
Entertainment,
quiet.
that's church.
Quiet reverence is what I've seen a lot of.
Well, I mean, we haven't had a lot of time to spend. What about at the Wild Cherry? That was, I mean, we spent enough time there. Did we see
Jaden
any
spent a
bands
lot of time
perform?
there.
Yeah, it was mostly Jaden.
Celine messaged you.
Yeah. Ah. Yes. It didn't pop up for a little bit there, but happily.
All right, one or the other. Continue your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, I know they had a lot of books there, but I don't remember seeing any bands playing or, any entertainment scheduled or even any parties thrown. But we weren't there that long, so I don't know. Maybe that just didn't happen that day. I don't know.
Yeah, the temple in Oldport was also very quiet. Hauntingly quiet. And I never really took an interest in it when I was younger. It always seemed a little off. Just didn't seem to have the kind of vibrance that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then I went off and became an entertainer. Not that I wrote many of the songs there, but
So hang on. Oh, okay. That was a close one.
are you
I'm gonna be okay.
skipping a disc again or something?
No, I'm gonna be all right. Weren't the healing words performing in Shadowheart territory a lot of the time? Like in Shadowheart,
Nearby.
Yeah.
The last I heard, they were going through Islandia up that way.
Yeah.
And that was a year or two ago. My dad's supposed to be following them.
They were performing in Islandia, yes, at that time when the invasion was nigh, to try and rally spirits and to get hopes up and to, make some solidarity. As for their current whereabouts, they might be involved with Operation Welcome Mat.
Which is where my dad's involved.
Yeah. We didn't go there.
Well, the time that me and Celine spent in Islandia was mostly in the air.
Yeah.
Over the scorching hot desert.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah, if it, Celine got exceptionally tanner. I don't turn darker shades of blue. I just burn.
What did you like me
Turn more
to
purple over time.
I didn't hear what either of you said.
I would just go from pink to red. Whether that is because of tanning or burning is an exercise for the reader.
What did you say, Celine?
What did you like me when I was 10?
I like you either way.
That doesn't answer the question, Morco.
If you want to go tanning, I'm not going to stop you.
Alright.
But if you wanted to, stay the pale half-elf that you are, I don't mind that
Definitely
either.
pale alpha. Ish.
Hey. It's kind of part of your aesthetic. Let's just...
You're not wrong. Not wrong at all.
Just like I have an aesthetic, except it's kind of all black now.
There's a joke I could make there about being edgy, but no, I can't do that.
And he's very aware of this.
Loki, do you have any observations, or would you like to comment on your tanning styles?
I don't get.
I love the beach, don't get me wrong. But, no, I tend to burn.
Well, I mean, you can actually go to the beach now.
Well...
over the longest time when you couldn't.
If you burn enough, you'll actually look like
By virtue of turning into a pile of ash.
Right, yeah. That would not have been great. There are some really good views of the beach at sunset and sunrise, though, Celine. I need to take you there. Like, I really do.
Fair enough.
It's cute and all, but we should really continue.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we should continue on.
Gak has disappeared.
Shit. Little goblin shit.
He probably went to scout on ahead.
Sorry, I got distracted with all the bright, shiny metal bits. I tend to get very distracted by these things.
I was going to say something, but I think I'll hold off.
No, you don't have to. Let's just keep moving, like you said.
Getting distracted by bright shiny things, it makes you seem more like Normalized brother.
Maybe that's something I picked up from her. Maybe that's something that was there all along. You'll never know, Loki.
Mordecai, Gak probably doesn't sneak up behind you. you actually hear kind of a scratch on the metal behind you as you're talking to the others here in this room.
Oh. You're back.
Yeah, as you turn around, there's Gak with just this, again, kind of a feral look on his face. And of course, there's the whistling head still sort of over his shoulder. It's a little messier.
In what way?
There were people there. No longer. But it's not like this place.
Then we should go take a look. You didn't happen to get yourself more trophies, did you?
No. Saw no other opportunities.
You're starting to worry me, Gak.
I'm fine. Just... we need to do this.
Try not to go very far.
Then come with me.
Let's go.
Yep, onward. We have doppels to save.
You continue to push ahead through the corridors. Still dark, and because you haven't told me otherwise. And there are signs of damage, and probably some of it, at least some of it, was caused by the crash. There do seem to be some crumpled parts that might have supported the weight of the hallway, like a bulkhead or such. Other things that were banged around, dents, and the things you'd expect. But you're also finding similar signs now. Like there was a struggle, there was a fight. There are things that appear to be broken. As you found on the rear half of the ship. Now, this isn't a giant like warehouse in the back of the ship. These are corridors that is a little tighter. As well, all of you lose another hit die off the back of your characters. As you proceed further in, it's not necessarily a wave that strikes you, but things to this point culminate where there's just a dizziness for a moment where you have to catch your breath, or just sort of maybe seeing this sent you for a little bit of a loop, because there was fighting in here, not just a crash. Now, there are no bodies. There are no even decor. But you do see in one of the rooms, whose door is open or wedged open or something, this is some kind of a med bay. Some kind of a sick bay. And there are various charts on the wall. There are various containers. Most of them are broken. Celine, while you're not at this is at a first glance at normal in black and white, but you can tell that this is a place where the things that got you disbarred probably happened, or dismissed from your academic career.
Yep. I know this kind of feels all too well.
What is all of this?
Surgical equipment.
Like, you've seen this kind of technology before? Like, this kind of medical equipment before?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Then what does all of it do? There's a lot of shit on the floor.
Medicine at advantage, Celine?
Medicine at advantage. 30.
Pwah!
Nice. Celine, what you see here, and I'll tell this to you, and you can translate it directly or indirectly, as much or little as you'd like. You are seeing very common tools of medicine. Some things that you're not familiar with. It must be something that was invented, a style, or just something that in the medical field or ethos of the Shadowhar, this does a thing that you don't immediately know. But if you take a look at things like the charts on the wall, and especially if you look at what's going on over here, you're seeing there's an in-depth study of vampirism in particular. There's a lot of anatomical notes. There are some diagrams of mouths and fangs. There's some records that are, I guess, of a test subject. And even looking inside this area, which must be terribly expensive by any other mean, except maybe it's not so expensive in Shadowhar. But behind this glass that even was able to mostly withstand the crash. It is open, more than what the picture's showing you. But these are loops and restraints. This is an observation bay. And you have a very strong feeling that there were experiments around the interaction between life and death, or more particularly an examination of the undead state. More notably on what a vampire is, or aspects of it that they have an extreme interest in.
I have a question for you, Mordecai.
Uh-huh.
If you were to surgically cut open a vampire while they were still cognizant, would you call it a vivisection or a dissection?
I'm not sure. I'm not big into medicine. I think one of them is...
Vivisection is while still alive. Dissection is dead.
Yeah, I'm going
But we're
with
talking about a
necrosection.
vampire.
Definitely necrosection is the word I would use.
Clever,
Well-
I'll take it.
Well,
They were doing experiments here, Mordecai.
on vampires?
To get to the bottom of what a state of undeath actually does to a person. To explore the barrier between life and death.
I mean,
Those who stand outside it.
I've
I
seen
don't know if
similar... I've seen similar diagrams of fangs in your journal about mine.
Yeah, but I never cut you open. Now, Bright, you were saying?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet that's not it. Because the Shadowhar are much closer to the vampires than we are. In fact, there have been a lot of vampires in the Shadowhar military. My guess is they needed a sickbay that could work for both living and non-living, living and vampire crewmen.
Oh no, I can guarantee you that they did experiments here.
How do you know?
Because of the fact that this isn't a sick bay, this is an observation chamber. And she points to the loops on the... that are stuck to the table, designed to bind people.
Oh. Yeah. You know, That puts a whole new perspective on restraints.
Hmm.
Not sure about
Kind of.
not about that anymore. Well, that's unethical.
Exceptionally. I mean, my experiments never went this far.
You experimented on vampires. Well,
No, on the dead. That's
oh,
why I said they never went this far.
you were just, autopsying dead people.
Yes, looking at what it meant to be dead. And I must say I have performed more than one vivisection in my life.
Well,
To watch as someone passes from one state to the next. Describe what happens. But never to the point of undeath.
That's a little macabre.
I've never hidden this from you.
No.
You're telling me that it's macabre, and I turn to you and I go, "Have you seen me?
Yeah,
Have you seen this?"
you are still very much a cleric of death and very much a woman who studies death as a phenomenon.
I'm gonna
You
jump
used
back.
to worship Ouijas. I mean,
Yes.
He's still here.
Good
What's
idea, Bright. That's a good idea.
but
No, they would. This is something else, and I must say there is a part of me that wants to see if there's an experimentation log or an observation journal still around here somewhere.
So, 3 years ago, things could have been different. I mean, the Shadowheart hadn't really started invading yet, right? They might not have been quite so in with vampires yet. And if this ship crashed 3 years ago, and this equipment might be older, we could be looking at 5-year-old Shadowheart plans. Maybe they didn't know what was going on yet either.
no, I think they knew what vampires were. Because the Shadowheart were willing to treat me like their emperor.
They wanted to recruit you and were being very civil to you.
They were extremely nice, treating me as if, I wasn't necessarily their prisoner, more like a slightly restrained guest.
Like a guest kept under protective custody. The thing is,
You
they.
suppose-
Oh, go ahead, Bright.
I was just gonna say, do you suppose there could have been like a minor Shadowheart civil war? One faction opposed to vampires, the other pro-vampires. This probably would have been an anti-vampire ship, and then it could have been destroyed in a ship battle? Possible?
Or at least some kind of, maybe... Because there's stuff everywhere. There's bloods,
I haven't
there's...
really seen that in Shadowheart lore anywhere. It seems like they've always been pretty unified. But their emperor wasn't that old. He was really young. Which is what I mean by not that old. And I mean he can't have been the emperor for that long, because he just wasn't old enough. It could have been they had somebody else before him who maybe
But a
got
10-year-old
very
can't run a country.
Yeah, I know. That's
Probably
why I
had a
guessed
regent.
A cabal or
It
something.
probably was just the figurehead.
Yeah, but even so, if there was a change in power, they would have put a new emperor on the throne, and one they could probably control.
Actually, that does remind me of something. The mercantile class that has power. I mean, we've seen it. Remember back when we were talking to... We were talking to that rather unsavory fellow who was working with Gaspard? He looked to be quite influential. I would assume that their society, and it's a shame that Cypher isn't here because he would actually be able to tell us more on this. That they have some sort of mercantile class that has a lot of power within the Shadowheart Empire.
Well, that's why they're looking to expand, right? That's the whole notion that they've been presenting, is that they're wanting to broaden our horizons with their merch.
Yes, but I'm talking about when it comes to homegrown matters. That sure, the Emperor's probably got some say. Whoever's controlling the Emperor, the region's probably got some say. But who's got their hand in that pot? Probably the mercantile class. And thinking
And
about
Mercury
it,
as well.
and likely Mercury as well. But you know, when we talk about the Shadowheart and Mezomauska, who was it first? Was it military personnel or was it merchants?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, this could have been this doesn't look like a military ship, so it could have been a mercenary ship operated by the merchants. They might have kitted it out for just a little bit more luxury. If that's,
Possible.
that's a possibility.
Which would make sense. They are merchants after all, and they'd be looking to put on a good impression.
Well,
But
Miss
the other
Crumb
thing,
kind of a merchant too, isn't she? In a way.
yes.
Yeah.
Started
yeah,
a whole
exactly.
chain of restaurants. Or inns, whatever.
Inns. Called the Wild Cherry, of all things.
I would like one of you, given this conversation, to make an investigation at advantage, please.
I have a
Right.
+6, but my rolls haven't been all that good. Right, do you want to do it?
You all are floating ones, just as a head. Now, I know there was some talk about saving him for whatever might happen, but a 15. Combined with this, this request is going to be separate from the investigation. But for Poops and Haha's Bright, I want you to make a medicine, please.
Come on, really?
This has no bearing on the investigation. Okay.
5.
It. Just seeing if we're consistent. Okay. So. The topic of Crumb comes up. The topic of merchants. She certainly was ambitious. And one of the first things that she did, even as a vampire, was to establish herself in a business. Now, from when you met her, she was a sailor that was stranded in the sea.
That's because she either jumped ship or got thrown off.
Because something happened aboard the ship. For some reason, those man-o-war creatures, and especially whatever that large, aberrant man-o-war was, attacked the Wild Cherry. Although, Bright, you are aware, you were given the name the Wild Cherry, but you, and I believe Celine also discovered, because you saw this when you were approaching as well, Celine. The Wild Cherry may not have necessarily been the Wild Cherry upon which you are. It could have simply been like a remote ship, a detached ship. Kind of like what you discovered with the personnel carrier from the governor's ship,
Right.
which
Yeah,
was
these
also
are
named the
names.
Eververdant.
Yeah.
Now, I would like Mordecai to roll an insight, please.
Oh. I'm not terribly good. Well,
You're not terrible at it.
No. Normally it's a 10.
Yeah.
It's average.
So Mordecai, you're listening to this, and there's a formation of a thought. So, Crumb certainly was ambitious. She went on to go start sort of a legion for vampires and her own hotel chain and all of this. But there was
She called it some
something.
kind of haven, though.
Yeah, but and she was seemingly eager to leave life behind in Shadowheart.
Right.
But
I always suspected that she was kind of maybe double agenting.
well, I as the DM am not going to tell you directly. You have a hunch that the attack on the wild cherry was not probably was not a random thing, because if you recall, even the Lellywellan's Gamble was attacked by the Man o' Wars.
Right.
But what would both of those ships, what would the wild cherry that Crumb was serving have in common with the Lellywellan's Gamble, such that these aberrations would have been drawn to them and attack them?
Hang on, wait. All things in time. Were they both marked with the... I don't even know what you would call it, the kind of adage of Rejas?
Then, yeah, actually, Bright discovered, I believe it was, that the nails of the Lellywellan's Gamble that were still original had that old sigil and their motto imprinted on it. Time.
It's a whole Shadowheart motto thing. It's all ingrained into their culture. It's...
Oh. The Lellywellan's Gamble was converted from a Shadowheart airship, if I remember correctly.
It was?
Well, maybe an airship, maybe not, but it certainly is an
Like,
old
partially.
Shadowheart.
Yeah,
it would be like being able to ride on the Mayflower to us in the U.S., like on a pilgrim ship, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Lellywellan's Gamble has been around since the pilgrimage that
Oh,
brought...
that's right. It was a pilgrimage ship.
Yes.
Yeah, it was one of the original pilgrimage ships. One of the ships that brought the original humans and tieflings from the Shadowheart Empire to Mezabasca to settle it to begin with.
And, Bright, didn't you say that the cook on that ship is a walking skeleton of one of their former kings? Which is also the guy at the mountain. Forget his name.
Regal?
Regal.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The
like
cook on the
you.
ship was another. He was another of the three kings.
Princes, but yes.
Princes. Yeah, the three princes.
Three princes. And he's a creature like you, Celine, right?
Regal was, yes. But wait. We also had those crowns and those swords back, like that DJ gave us way back in the day.
Those exploded in the tower.
Yes. But I think those also belonged to the three princes at some point.
I think we did discuss that, yeah.
Yeah. No,
But this looks like a
Aberrant-
mutiny.
No. This wasn't a mutiny. No, I know what this was. That sigil carries that sigil carries power. That old Ouija sigil carries power.
Is it an old saying, or is it fairly common?
It's
No,
as old
I'm
as the
talking
pilgrim
about-
ship, at least.
Yeah, it's
That's
not a
not
matter of
something that you were taught.
It's more fundamental than that. But what I'm saying is that very old sigil, symbols of power. I mean, she holds a symbol of the land. Any magical circle that Bright draws from some arcane formula that she's learned, that has power too. But the thing is, anything that bears that sigil, that has that power associated with it, I bet those Manowar things were able to sense that and attack it.
Do you think the Manowars are from Shonaruth?
Would make sense.
Not necessarily from Shona.
Aberrant creatures?
Possibly.
Aberrant creatures are Shonaruth's shtick.
Wait. Is there...
Zuvi was trying to get rid of the vampires as well.
Wait.
Because vampires are walking death, and Zuviwell's all about life.
What? Well, not just life, but the cycle. The cycle of things being natural. Death is a natural thing. Undeath, not so much. But settling. No. The pilgrims didn't come to settle here.
Did they not?
No, they didn't come to settle. They ran.
I suppose if you're looking to separate yourself from your old country and go someplace else in the middle of the ocean,
Yeah,
you know, a random island in the middle of the ocean is kind of a long shot. Especially if it was pretty much deserted.
And those Manowars that attacked, they only attacked vampires until they were threatened. Remember the ones with Miss Crumb?
Yeah,
They beelined for you.
Oh yeah.
They beelined for you until the others of us started attacking them, and then they started attacking us. They only started attacking us once we hit them.
Being a vampire.
Otherwise, you were their target.
But there weren't any vampires on the Lily Rollins Gamble when we were first making our way to Mizamaska.
Are you sure about that?
We don't know that.
They've
Because
been shipping vampires for ages.
Wait. Those things went directly for
Flowerfield?
Flowerfield.
Yeah,
The Tipper's father.
yeah, the father, yeah.
Oh
Well, that's
god, he was a
interesting.
vampire.
You think you know somebody?
Yeah! Yeah, you think you know some... Wait. With Tibber being the key, and his father taking him somewhere. If his father was a vampire, I mean, the vampires wanted him, wanted Tibber. That they wanted Tibber.
Yeah, everybody did.
Everybody wanted Tibber.
What if he's like Norlai?
I'm a little lost here. I was not present for these.
No, this was a very long time ago. Some of the stuff happened before I even met.
What if
Bright
Tibber
Knight
has
and
the same
Mordecai.
kind of potential that Norlai has?
I mean, well, we had always thought that Tibbo, because they made flowers, right? They made the flowers, and they made they were involved with
The flowers that wouldn't grow anywhere else, and they were trying to propagate them
yeah,
elsewhere.
and
With the creeper vines.
The sentry vine, yeah, they would kill the vampires. It was a whole big thing. And then they had the little doodad, that you could squirt a vampire with, and it would kill the vampire. So
Yes,
yeah,
and it would sprout a sentry vine from them.
they were involved, but I don't think that implies that Tibba's like Norlai. We spent a lot of time with Tibba. We didn't see him having any. Well, he didn't have any magical powers, and he didn't have any crystals.
His
Well,
uncle
the
sure wanted to exploit his inheritance, though.
The crystals weren't part of Norlai's power.
No, they were not.
Fae.
They were not.
That was a strictly Fae thing. No, the power that Norlai has,
Wait.
Hold on. It's ingrained in her, so far as I could tell. She doesn't use magical formulas. She doesn't use song.
Hold on.
She just makes arcane shapes with her hands, like she knows what she's doing, and then poof.
It's all instinctual, but maybe he hadn't awoken it to it yet or something. But that's no. I had a thought.
What?
The
What thought?
princes, the two princes that we've met.
And there's a third one somewhere.
Oh yes, but the two princes that we've met. Think about where they were.
In
One
the-
was in the monastery at the top of Mezamaska.
Top of the mountain, yep.
The other was on the Lollywoodlands Gamble, which only stays within the inner sea.
It's true.
Think about it. They were people who existed at the time of the pilgrims coming here.
Is this third prince on the ship?
No. One prince on the ship, one prince in the monastery, and one that we have no idea. But think about it.
What?
If that was
Third prince is the guy at the end of this tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that
a
is always that is a possibility. But
Although
my thought,
that doesn't really make sense though, because
my
it seems to be from a much more recent part of
my thought is though,
Shadar history.
but before all of that, my thought is one prince at the top of Mezamaska, one prince on a ship that sails around it constantly. If they were here at the time of the pilgrims, it just ties back into that entire thing. They weren't settling. They weren't coming here to settle.
They were running away. Something spooked them, maybe.
There were
My ancestors. Something spooked my ancestors.
What spooked everyone away?
they were retreating.
What caused everyone? What did you see in the Fey cave that they carved in as a memorial into their cave?
They all went to ground. The Fae
And
in Mezamaska.
yeah, because something
And
happened.
That was at
And
the
we
top. Think about it. Oh my god. It was at the time of Shonaru's landing.
they ran to Mezamaska because Shonaruth fell from the sky.
In Fallfire, yeah, but a lot of things left that region and went elsewhere.
Zuvuao, if you think it's her vision, she showed you a mass exodus. Shonaruth landed. All those arrows went off the map.
They went up to Shadahar, and then people started coming back.
And the first arrow back
Just to Mezamaska.
was to Mesomaska. They landed there and used that as an ingress to the rest of Mesotopia. Including the second destination straight ahead to Fallfire. Which, if you recall, Professor Cypher seemingly has some lineage because he is from an old family in Fallfire. Now, Mordecai, I would like you to give me an investigation at advantage because whether you know it or not, you have stumbled across something.
Big money. That's a 10.
Woohoo! 10 or 9.
Come on.
I can still. I'm going to highlight something for you. You said they were shipping out vampires to Shadahar.
From Shadowheart to Mesomaska.
No.
The other way, they were shipping out vampires to Shadowheart.
Bright was in a warehouse, and she found boxes and coffins that had vampires in them.
I thought that they were being shipped in. I wasn't
No,
really
they were
thinking
being
shipped out.
they were being shipped out because of course they would be shipped out.
They were
Because of
shipped
what
down the
happened with
river to the sea.
Yeah, but yeah, they were shipped out to sea and then probably taken across the sea to get them back into Shadowheart because, well, think of it this way, right?
Crumb wasn't a vampire until you found her.
No,
She
no,
discovered
wasn't.
her vampirism and leaned into it hard. Something happened where she went from not being a vampire to being a vampire on the Wild Cherry. Before or during the attack by the Man-O-Wars, or most likely that aberrant creature that was with them.
She got turned at that point.
It happened here.
She got turned here?
She got turned on this ship because remember this ship is the other side of the Wild Cherry.
Oh, yeah.
We fought one half. We went through one half back there. This is the other half.
You're far away from the ocean
Yes.
for it to be this ship.
Oh, quite a ways away.
It's a subship that you would have to be on.
Right, yes, the subship thing. They're all named the same. The APCs are named after the mothership. Actually, given the fact that we've been on one of the APC size ships, and given what we know about the size of the Wild Cherry, because we've seen the two halves, is this an APC size ship or is it bigger?
Oh, you're on a much bigger. This is a
mothership.
class ship
This is
that competes with the Imperator class.
This is the mothership.
This is the mothership.
Right. This is the mothership. She was on an APC. She was on an APC going over the ocean. Who probably would have been turned. So if she wasn't turned here, she was turned in probably a very similar facility on one of those APCs. Then they would have gotten attacked. It would have gone down, and she would have been under the water for God knows how long.
Drifting away.
Until death
She-
returns home.
Till she runs up a beach on Mesomasca.
Yeah, but I
Loki
mean, look at
Adius,
Mesomasca.
give me a deception check, please.
Oh no, what is he doing?
What am I doing?
What are you doing, Loki?
Okay. Loki, you've had a little bit of a rough childhood growing up, and you certainly know your way to sneak around, to perhaps bend the truth here and there, to blend in to try not to be caught. And while Loki, you were not exactly cognizant during this time that they're talking about, something instinctual inside you is telling you, like, you're listening to this, like, you're standing in a ship like this, but they were crating up vampires, putting them on wooden boats down a river, and they were sent out to sea, where, like, a jellyfish isn't going to bring down something even like the Norlai. But there's probably some kind of smuggling, some kind of deception where this could have happened, or why it could have happened. Bright, you were there in the warehouse when you found as Detective Bright. I distinctly remember that episode. I loved it because you were hiding in the crates and everything.
Yeah, it's fun.
I would like you to now make an investigation at advantage.
21! Yeah! It's a number above 20!
Airships were not really known or even seen at that time. And Now, if Norlai were here, she actually was talking with some of the smugglers. She was very chatty with the smugglers.
Yeah, that was
Very friendly with them.
But if they were smuggling vampires out of Mesomasca, meaning that the vampires would have already had to have been here, not that new ones couldn't have been made, because of course, I mean, Mordecai. But where were they getting all of these vampires? All these other vampires? Especially if people weren't necessarily, like, you weren't seeing a bunch of gone missing signs in the places that you've been. But if they were crating them up to look like normal crates on normal riverboats, and you're smuggling something, you want it to look normal, you probably don't want a big airship hovering just off the coast of a very skittish country. Especially when you compare that to what happened when there actually was a big boat at port in a skittish country.
Yeah, we blew it up.
Well, you helped, sure, but there were others as
You
well.
blew it up.
Others were definitely plotting against it too.
If we're thinking about where these vampires are coming from, I remember doing research about that, actually. There's a museum in the southernmost city of Mesomasca dedicated to vampires.
There is. Oh.
And I only just remembered that just now.
Mesomasca is where death returns home. Because remember Old Port, remember all of the undead buried underneath it.
Right, yeah.
Death returns home to Mesomasca.
To that temple we found.
A very old temple to Ouijas.
Temple to
In fact,
Ouijas.
even further than that, a temple with a planar portal that took us to where Ouijas is. In fact, I would be willing to go so far as to bet as that place was probably where Ouijas herself sat when she still walked the material.
Oh shit.
That was her seat of power. That would make sense as to why there's so much old stuff there. Why there's so much old undead. Why it's so concentrated there. And it would make sense as to why vampires were so concentrated there, and why the Shadowhar being... They didn't bring the religion of Ouijas here. They took it... They were here, and they took it with them.
Hallelujah!
And if
They took it with them.
and if the vision that we saw in that temple was correct, she
Wait,
was
sir.
made by giants. At the time that before Shonaruth was summoned.
Yes. And I imagine Shonaruth was probably the response.
To wage war against
The dra-
dragon. The dead dragon we saw in that cave system that we spoke to.
Well, think of it this way. The dragon, right? The dragons were the ones who summoned Shonaruth.
Mm-hmm.
They were scared. The giants created because Ouijas was human once. She was immortal.
According to that, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say human, but she was mortal once. They turned her into what she is now. Turned her into something much like myself. The dragons became terrified. Because remember, Ouijas has the ability to consume souls.
Which were-
A dragon's death would be a dragon that she consumes.
Uh-oh.
What were the dragons to do but to call for help in any way they could possibly find it?
And Shonoru
So
was a
they
creature from beyond the stars.
They called, and it answered.
Yeah, but it must
Right,
have taken
yeah.
time because there was thousands of years between when the dragons
Right,
and when Shonoru finally fell.
right. No, I got this mixed up. We just was made as a weapon.
Wait, we just made this weapon?
No, she was made as a weapon. She was turned into a weapon to use.
To use
Against-
against who, though? I mean,
The Fae and the Fiends, because remember, the Fae and the Fiends rebelled
They rebelled against their creators.
against their creators.
Oh,
And
so you
Ouijas
think-
was the weapon they made to deal with
I
it.
think that the dragons created Ouijas to deal with the Fae, and then they called for Shonoru to deal with Ouijas? And then, I wonder who they would call for to deal with Shonoru?
Well, no, what I think happened.
The giants
They
made
called for
Shonoru.
Lorelei.
No, it was
The giants made Ouijas.
Dragons made fiends. Giants made fae. Giants made Ouijas.
To
Because
deal with
Fae
the
were
Fiends
losing.
and the Fae. But then, yes, the Fae and the Fiends rebelled. They made Ouijas to deal with them. But then what happens to a super weapon after it's done its job?
Did dragons create Shonorus? Did they
They-
create a super weapon that they landed in Mesopotopia?
Well, I don't think
They didn't create
it.
them.
They just called for it.
Maybe.
Wait, fiends were made from dragons. The dragons didn't make them. Dragon.
Well,
Yeah,
no, dragons were
eat
made from fiends. Right? Because that's how.
Mm-mm.
Other way around.
Vice versa.
Dragons made fiends.
No, they didn't make fiends.
Yeah, they
Dragons were the material.
Yeah.
Fiends were the result. Giants made fiends by taking dragons and doing something to them.
Bright, you might recall when you and Norlai were in Mr. Halver's study, and you saw some of those memories that, you know, when touched, they could display a... Oh. We'll put that thought to the side for right now. But you saw a memory of Halver's where he returned back to his nest, and things that looked like feral tieflings were eating his eggs.
Right.
Oh,
That's why
right.
tieflings are called eatlings around here.
Right.
Now,
Right.
from your vision, you did see that dragons created tieflings and dragonborn. But
Oh yeah.
fiends
Right.
were
That's
not
right, that makes
created by dragons. Fiends were created from them.
From dragons.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's where I got mixed up.
Yeah. And
The dragons- Yeah.
how were they made from dragons if... Because the only other race that was extant at that time was... the giants. The Fomorians.
The giants made the gnomes and elves, didn't they?
No.
No, the giants made the Fae.
The Fae were made from the giants.
Oh, the Fae were made from the giants.
The Fae made elves and gnomes.
Gnomes.
The survivors of the war, the dragons, saw what the Fae did. And in response, dragons made tieflings and dragonborn.
the dragons built an army pretty much to combat the Fae. And for the fiends,
Also, all of you lose another hit die as another wave of lethargy hits you.
Oh shit.
We're taking too much time.
we can't dawdle for too long, but look, very long story short. Mesamaska was the home of death. Was the throne in which death sat. And Celine kind of just... She stops for a moment. Mesamaska was her mask.
We just his mask.
Think about it. What does Mesamaska look like? Like geographically on a map, when you look at it, what does it resemble?
Well, a mask. That's kind of the naming convention.
Yeah.
Like a plague mask.
Yeah. In the vision, the lakes, the eyes of the mask, they blinked.
Yeah, I saw that.
We really should leave the conjecture for when we're not getting constantly bombarded.
We can walk and talk. Celine is going to do a very quick search of the room for any kind of observation log or journal or anything that may have been left behind.
Things of that specific nature are not here. Though you have reason to believe that they could have been here, stored here, or kept here.
But
And while there are general notes and charts, specific things are not here.
No, they're
Probably because our
probably-
friend at the end has probably collected all of the important information.
Yeah.
You walk and talk.
But
I really wish, at some point, the mother of the land willing, that a clear, concise timeline is recorded so nobody forgets the damn thing again.
well, Jess is going to need to be dealt with for that to happen.
Should
She's
the
the one who
equivalent
consumed
of a god, so far as we know.
She's basically just a superpowered version of what I am. She's just had time to collect millions of souls.
Okay. That sounds like a huge undertaking.
Maybe.
Because we're,
Maybe any harder than Shunner.
well, yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's a thing
So-
also the equivalent of what amounts to a god in this
Celine,
world.
as you're walking and talking, you swear you are hearing something else. Scraping? Maybe inside the walls, or in some of the ducts, or... There's definitely, your senses are going off.
We're not alone.
Like, what do you mean we're not alone?
It's probably Gak. I tried to keep track of him, but that kind of petered out.
I'm right here.
Oh, he's here. Okay, never mind. It's not Gak. He's right here.
There's something in the walls or in the ducts. There's something here. Because I can hear it. scraping, clawing.
That'd be a
It's in the
mechanical
walls.
rat.
If it's in the walls, it might be attempting to get out.
Steer clear of the walls. That's unsettling. But we keep walking.
Well, I mean, if somebody knows we're here, we have to either deal with it, or I don't know. I think we should deal with it. Figure out what it is, at least.
Well, if something comes blowing itself out of the wall, then I think that would be a good time to figure out what it is.
Is there an access panel or something that we can see it behind, or see behind to, or like anything that seems like an ingress into the wall where we
Yeah,
can see it?
there's something here that is a panel that might have been jostled loose in the crash. Bright, it's big enough that if someone lifted you up, you could probably stick your head into the duct and look around.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll become teeny bright.
Ah,
I'll be lighter this way. And also
Mordecai-
probably.
Mordecai will help lift her up, like cup his hands so that she can stand on them.
Yeah, you can just kind of pick me up like a cat.
okay.
Just whoop. But don't turn me over, I hate that.
Are you using any source of light, Bright, or are you 30-foot black and white?
I don't have a source of light. Mordecai, do you want to put light in there for me?
Sure. I will cast a light cantrip at the end of the... If I can see like a point in the duct where it's like inside, then I'll put it on that point.
Okay.
Because I just have to be able to see a point and put light on it.
So, Bright, you're lifted. It's dark. You ask for a light at hand, and you're up there. And Mordecai, you cast light, and you light up the corridor. Bright, ahead of you in the direction you're traveling, and behind you, hiss with glowing eyes, vampiric doppels
Oh.
that scatter.
Oh. How about that?
Well,
Okay, Mordecai, lift me down.
Ooh.
Well, so, good news and bad news. Good news, we don't have to be stealthy anymore. Bad news, vampire doubles all over the place.
Oh.
you just alerted them.
No,
they probably already
knew we
knew.
were here. They probably heard us talking for an hour about history.
No, they probably heard us outside.
Talking about history is so fun, isn't it? I find it fascinating.
In either case, I think we're expected.
So do we just want to light the whole way now?
I think we should. I think it's probably easier that way.
Then we just walk forward without without a care much. I mean,
there's no reason for a care anymore. They know we're here, but chasing them into the ducts probably isn't a great idea. So
No.
all we can do is go on and just
we stay away from
they
the
get to choose
walls.
the time and place of the engagement.
We stay away from the walls, and Mordecai is going to cast light at the crystal end of his staff,
Mm-hmm.
and take point and say, might as well have the light marching forward first, right?
Yeah.
Are any of you going to fight Mordecai for the lead?
Nope. Go ahead.
Well, if we're not sneaking, go ahead.
All right, Face Tank, lead the way.
Maybe I should go first, or Celine. Aren't we more heavily armored than you, Mordecai?
No,
He's wearing half plate.
I am AC 20.
As am I.
I'm 18 or 23.
Ah, yes, shield.
So
Why don't you just take up the rear with me?
we can do that.
So Mordecai
Probably get
will
ambushed from behind anyway.
take point and continue walking us through the rest of this place. Kind of keeping an eye out for undead things.
Now that you're aware of them as you continue to walk down the crumpled halls, you can hear them. Scraping and scratching. Chittering. Traveling with you.
They're probably going to jump us as soon as we're engaging somewhere.
Lose another hit die.
Oh. Gross. I'd rather be spending the hit dice.
Yeah. When, I mean, I don't have an in-character way to refer to hit dice, but when they run out, we're probably going to start taking hit point damage. So.
Bright,
Wow,
as
this
you do
thing-
something like perhaps even just... Because you're in the back. If you just even happen to peer down another hallway, there in the dark, you don't even need Mordecai's light because small red beads glow from these vampires' eyes as they seemingly cluster and lurk to block that way, receding back out of your sight as the rest of the party continues ahead.
They're funneling us.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Well, aren't we pretty much already going where they want us to go, though?
I mean, sure. But they're
Oh, I
not
have
giving
that
us a chance
prepared.
to explore. What do you have prepared?
Oh, I have that prepared. Wonderful, 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 wonderful.
You brought something to deal with that?
Somewhat.
Someone?
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
And, Celine just leans over into Mordecai's ear and whispers, "Let there be light."
Oh. I mean, you don't have to tell me twice.
All of you lose 2 hit dice.
Ooh,
Oh.
gross.
That's rough.
That is rough. I'm down to half of my hit dice.
I'm not that far down yet.
Yeah, we've all lost 6, and I hadn't used any, so.
I had
Neither
used
have I.
some, so
Yeah, I haven't used any. But we need to hurry it up. How's Gak doing? Probably not well, I imagine.
Gact has continued on, though he has stopped a couple times to catch his breath. He is getting winded easily, but he is resolved to continue to push forward. His eyes have turned kind of a bloodshot, with the capillaries in his eyes, but his irises have also begun to turn red as his body is adapting to this ship the further in you go. And now we hit the juicy part that Bright was talking about, where the corridors are lined with decor. Parts of people, parts of doppels, many plastered, some animated as living art. And the smell hits you.
God. This is abominable.
Not go in there.
I don't think there's a such thing as a spell to mask sense, is there?
Well, there's Gust of Wind, but haven't prepared that one.
If you have prestidigitation, you could walk around sniffing your finger the whole time.
I mean, I could do that.
Because it's foul.
Well, once you get acclimated to it, you'll get a little bit scent blind, and it'll be okay.
Well, we're kind of all in, aren't we?
Well, no, we could still turn around and leave, but that would be a waste of 3 hours.
But this is...
This is what we came to deal with.
Yeah, this is disgusting. People are not meant to be animated like this.
Abominable. We need to keep moving. They know that we're here. They're funneling us towards the bridge, likely.
There's a sense in
wanna-
you. Oh, go ahead, Bright.
I was gonna say, do we want to stop and maybe we can thin them out? Maybe we can make an attack while we're here, if we can chase some of them down? Or do we want to just keep going?
Do any of them seem like they're getting close to us?
Mm-mm.
This light lasts for an hour.
Nope.
I mean, you can always replace the light.
Well, of course, but
Then let's just keep going.
I was
Sure, you
thinking,
don't want to throw
are we sure we don't?
cantrips at them?
Sure we don't want to snuff out the light, let them come closer, and then, snap them in pieces?
No. No.
Understood. Bad idea.
Very bad idea.
Very bad idea. Nope. Why did I even think of it? I'm an idiot.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I only have certain instances where I'm brilliant. Other instances, I am an absolute... Well, I'm
Don't
sure
worry.
there's lots of things that I could be called.
Look, it's not a bad plan, it's just the wrong time. I'll let you know when.
You tell me when, and I'll call upon the land's power and tell her to let her rip.
Mordecai, as you're walking down the hall speaking, you are the point man.
Hmm.
You stop for a moment, as mechanically you are going to take 5 necrotic damage.
Ouch. Actually, hang on. I am resistant to necrotic damage, so that's going to get half to 2.
A
Because
part
I
of
am
you just
Asimar.
aches, like a muscle just spasmed or something, where it almost felt like you're tearing your body apart. And in that wincing moment, Mordecai, broken from the wandering conversation at this pain, you look up and you see plastered to the wall with this necrotic flesh someone. There's the remnants of some kind of a uniform. And as you look, its head snaps up. Its eyes, its eye sockets open. There are no eyes. The jaw distends massively. There is a gaping blackness inside, as this thing sounds like it screams, but inhaling. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, Mordecai.
Oh. Sure.
There's probably traps and everything here, we need to be careful.
Hey, I'm made of stone.
Yeah, but it's not adamantite, unfortunately.
You take 19 psychic damage on a save.
Honestly?
Yes, on a successful save. As you are racked, like, it feels like it's trying to pull your mind, your thoughts out. not just
Oh.
attack your body. As this
Oh.
thing's void of a face is trying to consume you in this inward scream.
Fuck that shit. Sacred Flame.
Okay. It is not able to make a... That is a deck... Yeah. It is unable to make a deck save. It is affixed to the wall.
26 radiant damage.
Now, for the rest of you, you are all going to take 5 points of necrotic damage. This thing continues to flail in this necrotic cocoon. This former crew member that's been twisted into something. Some sort of vacuum for life. Or maybe even more than that, Mordecai. You almost lost your mind there for a second.
Yeah. Oh, that's spooky. It trying to devour my mind, I think.
The rest of you can do something if you want. You can run, you can fight, you can stand there. What would you like to do?
Is this thing still moving?
Yes, its arms are just barely free as its distended face, like drooping, massive, gaping eye sockets, a mouth hanging down to its mid-chest.
Well, I'm gonna start fasting.
All of those are going to hit?
Yep. Basically,
Oh, was it blasting?
yeah, Loki just like waves his arm and 4 separate tentacles just shoot off and strangle this thing.
You light this thing up, and it just flails as it's making a terrible inward sound. A sound that is projecting despite almost being sucked right back into its face. And it stops and just hangs. This void presence no longer seems to be dissolving your mind or your body.
We need to keep going. Keep your eyes out on the walls and the roof and the floor.
Yeah. Now that we know what it looks like, hopefully maybe we can see him before they get us, because that Mordecai sure seemed to be unhappy about that.
Oh yeah, that's spooky. And he kind of does a bit of a prayer to whatever soul is left after this thing is extinguished, that it finds some place peaceful to rest, because that's torment.
With this thing's dying screams, there are others that seem to echo down this festering hall. And another creature that was close, not as close as this, looks up. And Lokiadius, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, as one of these things that was sort of blending in to the wall, sort of almost emerges in a false animation and gazes at you. You feel like you're falling into this thing's face. You are going to take...
Oh no, Loki, what'd you do?
You are going to take 23 points of necrotic damage, as you can feel almost like your your fluids or like your capillaries begin to burst as there's a pressure without pressure put on you, like you're drawn in, but you're not physically drawn in. As bruising just forms where this thing was looking at you.
Ooh. Pew pew.
You could pew pew. This one's affixed to the wall as well.
Pew pew.
More screams.
Loki just looks at it and just like tosses a handful of black worms that appear out of nowhere onto this thing.
It flails and screams. And as that happens, Mordecai's sacred flame hits, and it falls limp, where it was just attached, like around the waist. There's no sign of legs. They're probably too far into the walls. Another former crew member. This one probably a tiefling? This had the semblance of horns anyway.
These poor saps.
I also just remembered I have a single 5th level spell slot left. But a single.
Another 2 hit dice are consumed.
Oh, yikes. Big yikes.
Within the shadows of your light, on the boundaries of your dim vision with your dark, or even for those of you who still see shadows here and there are things crawling and lurking.
Oh, I know all those things too.
Wet sounds, ripping sounds, tearing sounds of flesh. All very subtle, very small, but very present everywhere. Begin to stir.
'Cause it's very quiet in here. Mordecai doesn't like the quiet anymore.
I also kept forgetting I have 2 6th level spells slots, but I spent one of them, so I've got 1 left of those 2. Okay.
So, as who's actually kind of hurt? Because I also have Circle of Mortality. No, not that. It's a Keeper of Souls that allows me to heal someone when extinguishing an enemy.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I could use it.
Okay, because that's
Mordecai, there are no souls here. So I'm going to hard shut down that ability, but in exchange offer you a clue. There are no souls here.
Oh.
That's why it's trying to draw in life energy. There are no souls here. This isn't just undeath, it is literally the absence of life.
You recall something Gak told you about the night the ship broke and fell.
I mean, this essentially turned into the wound, right?
This did.
is the wound.
There was a difference between the 2 halves.
One half was just ship.
Both halves were ship.
Well,
Both halves were
ship.
falling.
But this one is an infection. This is
There were
draining
no
of life.
ghosts pouring out of the engines as the front of the ship fell. Completely devoid of incorporeal undead.
Oh. They did something here. They did something unimaginable here.
Behind you in the hallway, 2 of the large, distended figures with fingers 3 feet long, hulking, with a myriad of small beady red eyes, scurrying about their feet.
Should we run?
Yes.
Then move forward and onward and kind of keeping everybody in the light as much as possible.
The goblins do seem to stay away from the light. Like, you've been able to kind of wave it at them, and they back off a step. You run. Your boots making sickening sounds through the necrotic mucus. These things chase you in a sense, and you see that the walls are crawling with things. Used to be doppels, used to be tieflings and humans. Only a parody of them.
They're chasing us, but they're not attempting to like catch up and attack. It's like they're following behind, but with an enforcement, or it's like you can't turn back type thing. Is that?
Yes.
They're trying to draw us to the center.
You are very much being goaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll regret that.
You turn down hallways, and as you pass by more of these partially cocooned things, each of you are going to take 30 points of necrotic damage as you pass by several of them as you run. Simply being in a presence, approximately 30 feet of them, you lose a part of yourself to them. But you're running. You're trying not to stay still, but they're lining this place.
Okay, that hurts.
But you run. For a moment, your shoe is stuck in this mucus. You pull it out. You continue as there's more. And then there's a hallway that looks rather clean. And really, it's your only choice unless you want to barrel through the ones that have crawled ahead. You turn and go through the hall. And it is there that you will find yourselves on the command bridge. And it is here that we are going to take a quick break before I describe in fullness what it is that you see now that you're here. So for all of you out there, hopefully I've had you on the edge of your seat. Enjoy the break screen for a moment and catch your breaths as I describe what it is that the Chroma Company has been herded into. We'll be back shortly, everyone.